John Brown. I play the bass.
Trey Jacobs.
Drummer, pseudo producer.
I'm Brian Frugier, and I play guitar.
Dolly and Nicole Keys, vocalist.
Started around, I don't know, about 12, 13 years old. And started out on a 12 string that my dad's friend gave to him, but it had like 5 strings at total random. So I learned to strum, and then I learned a power chord, and from there it was kind of over.
I was very, very fortunate. My father, from the time I was 4 years old, would take me to pretty much every rock concert that would be good to. First time I knew immediately I wanted to play drums. My dad bought me a little Mickey Mouse kit, and I tried to use it as a step stool to open the back door, and I caved in the kick drums. So it wasn't until I was 14 that they bought me another drum set. So I got my first drum set at 14, and immediately started writing original metal in my first band. Like, we weren't very good, but that's all I've done ever since then.
I started in 1997 when I was 17 years old. I used to play sports in high school, and coming up, my dad always played guitar in multiple bands, and I finally got tired of going out and sweating my ass off and losing every game, and I was like, man, so my pops showed me a couple things, and I kind of just was self-taught after that.
I started whenever a friend of my mom's came over, Gordon Nurse, and he helped me play some songs on the piano, and he was like, you need to come up and sing at my restaurant. So I went up and started doing improv there, and then that led to doing improv at the Hayride and Noble Savage and various bars around town.
Besides playing church all my life, my 2 teenage best friends, we had a band called Moving Company. I don't think anyone here was youth grouping as hard as we were, so it was kind of in that scene. Victor Olston, alt country band, played around, I think it was in 2012 to 2015. Them Notorious Cadillacs, that was 16, 17, I think, those years. Then moved away to New Orleans for 2 years, and it was right before COVID, and that's when I saw Weather for the first time. We came home to visit friends, and they were playing at Strange Brew, and I was just completely enamored. And I never really played in a metal group except for my teenage punk hardcore band, and so it was definitely a new feeling. So when I found them, I kind of begged to play bass, told them they didn't need me, but they wanted me.
Really just wanting to do something. Like Brian and I, we just said, let's just have a 2-piece band, it'll be so easy to play shows, just the business model would be great, so we took a trip to go to the Mutants of the Monster Festival in Little Rock, and it's pretty much on that trip, I introduced them all my friends there, and within the next year we were up in Little Rock recording our first EP. So so we were actually a functional 2-piece for at least 2 to 3 years before JB came along.
Trey and I are the founding members in Weather. He and I had been playing in different bands together since 1997, and we were friends, and we're just why haven't we jammed together yet? And so we did that at our house that we used to live in together in Highland, and started out as a 2-piece, and one thing led to another, and kept on going.
Trey had heard me sing Radiohead Creep at Bears for Karaoke one night, and he was like, oh, I have this music you might want to listen to. And then we go to walk into Media Star a couple days later, and he said, well, we aren't actually looking for a vocalist. We don't need a vocalist. And we don't want a vocalist. And I was like, okay. So that was kind of cool because it gave me the freedom to lose my shit and have fun. A lot of different artists, different sounds and characters really inspired me. Portishead and Peter Steele and Typo and just a million different others in between, Bjork, so many people. And then I started to hear more women in metal and like doing screaming and gutturals, and I was like, I feel like I could probably go like a little harder than what I had listened to at that point at the time, because a lot of women do throw down for sure. So that's kind of what inspired me.
Doom seems to always be the first reference that comes to mind, but I feel like we all offer our own different kind of element to it, but I feel like we're somewhere in the Doom network.
I would say definitely a progressive, sludgy doom with beautiful, like, ethereal, atmospheric moments.
Pretty good mix of like doom, sludge, noise, maybe a little shoegaze thrown in here and there.
I like to call it psych ward metal. I always say I try to give a tour of the psych ward. But doomy, sludgy, ethereal, sometimes completely manic, like really hard to describe.
We really all pretty much share equal portions. Like, we very rarely just have somebody who has a whole song. You know, we'll just kind of jam stuff out, and if we fall into something we like, ooh, we'll hang on to that. Like, and luckily I'm usually wired up to multi-track all our jams. If I capture something on tape, we can go back to it. But yeah, really it's 4 equal parts. You know,
I write the songs, like the lyrics, but I really feel like the guys, whenever they play, they build the characters and then I just translate them.
Man, we're still growing. Our writing style has changed a lot since we were just a 2-piece. We're working on our first full length, finally getting that out. I think after that we're gonna just kind of buckle down and just keep writing and see what comes out. And so, you know, it's definitely still a thing that's important to us, and we're just gonna keep going. But putting a timeline on your creativity is just tough to do, you know. So we're just gonna keep going, man, and see where it goes.
I'd really like for us to play like some really big stages, you know, have like vinyls for sale, and keep enjoying and loving what we're doing, and like playing with all the bands we love, or like dream bands, you know, just to experience it together is pretty rad. Love these guys.
So we've been tracking. Pretty much anybody who's seen us knows that we have 2 or 3 songs from our current set on the internet, but we're working on tracking our newer stuff. Hopefully putting out a full length. Can't really say too much about it, but we've got an interest from a really cool label we're dying to work with. And got some out of town stuff coming up. Cool weekend in July. Can't announce the headliner until Saturday, but it's going to be huge. And at Bears on a Sunday, we're going to be hitting up Birmingham, Athens, Georgia, Memphis, Tennessee in September. Coming back to the Fister and Dope Throne show at Bears, which is going to be bonkers. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff in the works. Hopefully just keep grinding, keep playing shows when we can, going out of town as much as we can.
Like, all of our aesthetic that we've used has always kind of been, as the artist for the band, I've kind of chosen in a sound that I think like we hold as like druidic. I feel like there's like some aesthetic of like kind of druidic magic, very of the earth, like overgrowth, undergrowth. Like, that's, I feel like tonally that's an artistic expression that we could use. And so I think that much like that aesthetic, I think we too try to think of it as growing. So I think that that's what's been our strength, is that we've grown at a proper pace. You know, we've grown at the pace that we're naturally supposed to. So hopefully the fertilizer's good and we keep going.
Thank you so much.